He, he's been in this church longer than probably anybody that's here today, I'd say. Am I right? Come on, Brother Lonnie. I'm going to let him talk to you from his heart what God has laid on him, and I'm going to get out of your way. And let's just listen to what God has done for this man. Let's listen to his story. One thing I have found is sometimes, many times, God uses a great story to touch my life. I know Lonnie will today.
Thank you, Pastor. First, I'd like for all the people that has come to honor me with your presence today, would you please stand? I'm truly honored and excited that you've come to honor me today, and God bless you. I hope you have a wonderful Father's Day, all you fathers. You know, just about a month ago, we honored our mothers, and we really done our best to honor you. So today, men, fathers, today's our day. So all the attention you can get, eat it up. Enjoy. Be blessed. What I have to say to you today is not to bring any attention to me, but to what the Heavenly Father has done in my life over the years. As you know, I'm well up in age now, but God has seen fit some way to let me live and give me health and strength to get about a little bit, even up to this time in my life. But what I want to talk to you about today started in 1948. 1948, I was living in Roseburg, North Carolina. And I had a neighbor that lived right next door to us that had a family that lived over here in Gibsonville, just a few miles over here. And they visited the neighbor in our yard very often, and I got well acquainted with her. Her name was Herman and Virginia Younger. He come several times and invited me and encouraged me actually to come to Burlington to seek work. I was working with Pilot Life Insurance Company at the time, but I was not too happy with what I was doing. And later on, I come to Burlington on January of 1948 and went to work with Gifford, not Gifford, but Burlington Industries. And as God would have it, my supervisor's name was Landon Barlow, a member of this church, who stood up here many, many times, sung in the choir. He was my supervisor. And he come to me a few days later, said, I know you're new in town and you don't have a church. I'd love to invite you to our church. We're having a revival meeting. And I'd like for you to come. I believe you'll enjoy it. Well, I was not really interested in going to his church, but he come back a day or so later and he invited me again and said, we're having a good time over at the church. I'd like for you to come. I'd really appreciate it if you'd come and visit with us. Well, he was so nice to me and so outgoing, such a wonderful person. I wish all of you could know Landon Barlow. He was just a great guy. And so I said, well, what denomination is your church? He said, Church of the Nazarene. Well, I'd never heard tell of Church of the Nazarene. I thought, well, surely that's some code or something. But I said, well, in my heart, I said, well, he's been so nice to me, and so good and courteous to me. The least I could do is go over one night, and then he'll be satisfied. I won't have to worry about it anymore. So I went to church with him the next night. Well, the preacher preached and the singer sung. And I don't know what all happened, but it was just such a joyous time. And I was sitting over in the back over on this side, toward the back, 3/4 Vincent off in the back. And at the end of the service, he gave an invitation for people to come to the altar. Well, I didn't know anybody at the church other than Landon Barlow. And I was sitting alone back there. And nobody would come to the front. So I wanted to come so bad. I got under conviction so bad. And I wanted to go then, but nobody else was going. I thought, well, it won't do. I'm a stranger in the house, and I just won't go. So I did. I got defeated. I went back out of the church, worked that night, and I was working night shift. And I was so under a burden and so my heart was so heavy that I wanted something done. So I went to work, and the people around me, they'd come to me and said, Lonnie, are you sick tonight? Is something wrong? I said, no, nothing wrong. Told the story. But I was sick in my heart and in my life. And so all through the shift that day, I just kept saying, Lord, if you'll just let me live till I get back to the church. Tomorrow night, if nobody else goes to the altar, they give altar call, I'm going. Well, the Lord let me live, although I didn't think I'd make it. But I went back to the church that next night, and as soon as the altar call was made, I didn't wait for nobody else. I found my way home, and now at that church, this is over on Market Street, that's where this church got here. I knelt right down here. I believe I could go over there today and put my knees in the same spot that I knelt and give my heart to Jesus. He saved me. 1948. I went out of that church that night. Everybody's faces was so much brighter. See, the lights had got brighter in the church. I went outside, looked up at the sky, the moon was shining, and the stars were shining, and they looked so beautiful and bright. And I had this heavy load that I've been carrying. Folks, it was gone. The burden was lifted. Where there was torment in my life before and anxiety, God had put peace, joy, and happiness in there. And a well was springing up within me of joy and peace that I had never felt before. I'd never been so happy in all my life. Well, from then on, I was back in church every service there was, and it was just so different. Well, I hadn't moved my family from down to Roseburg yet because I had found a place for them to come. And I would just get to go home on weekends to be with my family and come back on Sunday nights to go back to work. So I couldn't hardly wait. This was long about on Monday, Tuesday night that I got saved, and I couldn't hardly wait to get home that weekend. I walked in the living room that morning and I said to my wife, honey, come in here. I've got something special to tell you. So I said, bring your children with you. I had 3 children at that time. I said, bring your children with you, honey. Well, they all come to the living room. I put my arms around them. I said to my wife, I said, honey, you've got a new husband. Amen. Children, you've got a new daddy. Papa got saved this week, and everything is going to be different from here on out. But we had our first prayer meeting right there in the living room that morning. That started us on a way that changed not only my life, but the life of my family. Well, I come back to work, and I kept going to church, and I'll tell you, things have been different ever since then. I didn't need the preacher, I didn't need an angel to come and say, Lonnie Garman, you've been born again, you're a different person. You've got saved, you're one of Jesus' children now. I didn't need nobody to tell me that because I do it right in here. And let me tell you this morning, congregation, if there's anybody in here this morning it's not living for the Lord today, you're missing one of the happiest times of your life. I've been the happiest since then, and I felt like I had wasted. I was 32 years old at the time. I felt like I had wasted all those years coming up to then, and I think I asked the Lord to forgive me for wasting that time. But it's been such a joy and a happiness in my life since that time God has brought me through. He's been with me in the valleys. He's been with me up on the mountaintop. I've had sadness and heartache, bereavement in my family and along the way, but God has always been there. I don't know how I made it without Him. I don't want to even think about trying without Him. So, ladies and gentlemen, trust the Lord today. Live for Him. You'll be glad you did. It's the wonderfulest life that I've ever had. He's walked with me every step of the way, brought me up to this point. I don't know how much longer God will leave me here. It might be a day, it might be a year. But whatever time He has, I know that He'll walk with me. I don't worry one thing about it. I take it a day at a time, and every day I get up, put my feet on the floor. I say, thank you, Lord, you let me survive for one more day. Give me one more day to live for you. And all of this has happened because of His amazing grace. How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. It was grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious is that grace appeared the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares,